So the new DJI Action 4, is this the new king of action cameras? It has the same design as the previous Action 3, but there's three things which separates the two. Is it worth the price tag of $399 and is it worth upgrading? This video is not sponsored by DJI, however they did send me the unit to test out and review, but the opinion still stays mine. So let's talk about the things I like and don't like about the Action 4 and whether or not I think it's worth upgrading if you already have the Action 3. Now looking at the Action 4, it looks just like the Action 3 but with a darker grey color. It still has the same robust feel to it and uses the same magnetic mounting system as the previous model. On the back we have a 2.25-inch touchscreen at 326 ppi, and on the front we have a 1.4-inch touchscreen with 323 ppi, which both screens can be used to control all the settings on the camera. On the side we find the same doors as we see on the Action 3, where the USB-C port is separated from the battery and SD card. This is something I'm a huge fan of because it makes it so much easier and safer to charge the camera using a power source for whenever I need to record longer videos. On the top we have the shutter button and a new optimized speaker. The Action 4 has the same three microphones as the Action 3, however these have now been optimized to provide a better and more clear stereo sound. So doing an audio comparison here with the Action 4 and the Action 3, also putting in a little bit of that low light scenario environment type of style by doing a short walk here in the forest. Both are using the internal microphones and both are about an arm's length away from me. Which sounds better? Is it the Action 4 or is it the Action 3? And now doing an audio test with the DJI microphone connected directly to the Action 4's body, and this is by far the best wireless audio system that I know of. Just simply plug it into the USB-C port on the Action 4 and you have crystal clear audio no matter what. Now as of specs, the Action 4 runs with a 1/1.3-inch CMOS sensor and an aperture of f2.8, which gives the Action 4 a much better low light image. Now new to the Action 4 is also a 10-bit D-Log M color profile, which is a slightly better and more flat profile than the Cinelike, and it also provides more dynamic range. There's also an improvement in water activities. The Action 4 is now waterproof down to 18 meters. This is 2 meters deeper than the Action 3. Another feature I've been waiting for ever since the Mini 3 Pro received this update is the option to adjust the sharpness and noise levels. To me, this is a huge upgrade. It basically allows me to set the sharpness and noise levels in camera so I can get the best possible image without doing much in post. Now as a resolution, the Action 4 shoots videos up to 4K 120 FPS and 1080p up to 240 FPS. Now slow motion is also another huge aspect to consider when you're looking to get an action camera. Now we still have that 120 FPS slow motion option in 4K, which is always nice, and the quality and clarity of this is looking good. And as of super slow motion at 240 FPS, we're still limited to 1080p, which looks just decent to my eyes. Not something I'll be using a lot of. The Action 4 also has that ultra wide field of view of 155 degrees, so you can capture more of the landscape and scenery. And if you want less distortion and more of a linear field of view, you can change this to DVOR, which has a more cinematic look to it and takes away most of the distortion that people often associate with action cameras. And if you want a wider field of view but you still want to keep that fisheye look to the minimum, the wide option might be the best choice and is overall my favorite lens type. Now as of battery life, DJI claims that the Action 4 is the most cold resistant camera on the market and that it can record for 160 minutes. So I placed the Action 4 in the freezer and 6 hours later I went to pick it up. I changed the battery and it turned on immediately, which is pretty impressive. Now as for recording these videos, the stated 160 minutes are only for 1080p at 30 FPS. And since I'm usually recording videos at 4K 30, I needed to test how long this could record for and if there was a potential risk of overheating. So I fully charged the battery and started a time lapse, and the Action 4 ran out of battery after 1 hour and 40 minutes, which gives the Action 4 a total of 100 minutes of record time in 4K 30 FPS in an indoor environment without any cooling. So as of overheating, the Action 4 scores 10 out of 10. Now, the most interesting thing about the Action 4 is the camera and its new 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor and the image quality it puts out. I've been using the Action 4 quite a lot lately, and I've been comparing it to all different cameras, and especially the GoPro Hero 11 and the Action 3. So one of my favorite things with this camera is the low light capabilities. Look at this sample right here next to the GoPro Hero 11. It's just insane how big of a difference there is. And here's a side-by-side comparison shot with the Action 3 and 4. Now, when it comes to low light and you're out traveling and want to capture some evening shots in the city, maybe some night shots, something like that, an action camera might just not be your first choice because it has always been like just okay. But this has changed with the Action 4. The image coming from this looks just stunning. Now, as of features, there's not much that has changed from the Action 3 when it comes to the normal shooting modes and photos. We still have the same reliable hyperlapse and time-lapse, as well as slow motion and normal video. In time-lapse, you're able to choose between some pre-made settings, or if you want, you can also set your custom settings. In the middle of the screen, we also have the indicator of how long the video duration will be, which is always nice to have. And in hyperlapse, you can set your desired speed from auto to 30 times the speed, depending on your preferred look. And as for shooting photos, we have 4:3 and 16:9. But when you mount the camera vertically, you also have the option to take 9:16 photos. As for normal videos, we have 4:3 as well as 16:9 and 9:16 when you mount the Action 4 in a vertical position. Max resolution is 4K at 120 FPS for 16:9 and 60 FPS for 4:3. And when it comes to stabilization, we have the same but optimized Rocksteady, Rocksteady Plus, Horizon Balance, and Horizon Lock. As for horizon balance, this keeps the horizon level up to a 45 degree of rotation up to 60 FPS in 4K resolution. However, in order to have the horizon lock, which keeps the horizon level no matter how much you rotate the camera, we still need to drop down to 2.7K, which is a bummer, but it still looks good though. So overall, the stabilization provided by the Action 4 is outstanding, regardless of which mode you use. Personally, I favor the normal Rocksteady because I quite like the stabilized footage with a subtle movement. Now, another thing I really like with the Action 4 is the magnetic mounting system. Just be able to snap the camera in place, either horizontal or vertical, and then just press the two lock buttons on each side to release the camera whenever I need to change the placement. Is really satisfying compared to the mounting system on the GoPros, which actually takes a fair amount of time. And the fact that the mounting system is backwards compatible allows me to use any of the existing mounts that I have laying around for the Action 2 or the Action 3. So here we have the mount for the Action 2, and I can just snap that in place on the Action 4. So Action 4 cage, Action 3 cage fits perfectly. It's the exact same size as the Action 3. So every single accessory that you already have for the Action 3 works with the Action 4. And what's really awesome is that the batteries work as well. So if you already have a lot of batteries laying around for your Action 3, it's enough to just get the Action 4, which is really awesome. Now, whether or not you should upgrade to the Action 3 or get the Action 4 as your first action camera, that decision is going to be completely up to you. But I put together a short side-by-side comparison here with the Action 3 and 4, so you can get a better look and then decide which of these you prefer the most. also curious to know your opinion about the Action 4. Do you think it's worth it? Is it the new king of action cameras or not? So let me know down in the comments below. All of the links will be down there as well. If you decide to check out the Action 4, I will leave some accessories I recommend using down there as well. And don't forget to grab my Signature LUTs, which is currently discounted. So that wraps it up. If you found any value in today's video, let me know by dropping a like. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next video. Are you getting the Action 4 or are you sticking with the Action 3? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.